going on, guys? This is Chris from CGS Sport. Now today I'm gonna start what is called Skype Sports Talk. So SST, this is the first episode, Skype Sports Talk, and we are joined by Mr. Mark Bennett. Now Mark is basically a cricket expert. I've known him for about, how long now, Mark? Since 2007, so like 10 years we've known each other. Same first form class, went into the same sixth form class, and he's now, you're finished your degree, right?
Yeah, we were prefects of the same fifth form.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we were we were prefects of the same form class that we
Yes, yeah.
and now we are here talking about sports, with the upcoming sports analyst. We can't just talk about football and basketball alone. We have to now speak about cricket because certain historic events happened
Scott, of course.
recently. So we'll have to
Yes,
talk about it. Now,
have to.
Mark, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you
Skype
very much.
Sports Talk, the first episode of Skype Sports Talk. And
Feeling great to be the first person that you're talking to via Skype. Scott,
Yeah. So now, as I said, something historic happened on the weekend. Let me just get into it. Yes, something historic happened on the weekend. And congrats to the West Indies. Quite frankly, this is the most I have heard persons talk about Test cricket for the West Indies in a while. Now, West Indies recorded an historic win over the weekend. This is the first time in 17 years that
Yes, sir.
the West Indies have won a Test match in England. So now we have Mr. Mark Bennett to discuss it. What do you think was the strategy heading into the second Test, Mr.?
simple self-belief. The West Indies, after losing that first Test match in 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that they would have been completely just giving up on how to perform, but they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I think they were well led by Jason Holder, and the coach, I think, had a good role in it as well to try and push that team to say that yes, they can compete, yes, they can win Test matches, and that's what they did.
Yeah, I think hope was also an integral part as well in the Test victory, the historic Test victory that we had. What part did you think he played, and how important was he in the victory for the West Indies against England?
It was his performance was very important. To be the only player to have scored two successive centuries in a first class game is historic in itself. So he himself has created history for himself.
Yeah.
But apart from that, Gabriel coming back into the team.
Yeah.
Don't know why he didn't play in that first Test match, but coming back into that second Test really bowled well in that first innings, along with Kemar Roach to allow West Indies to set to allow West Indies to get a lead against England.
Yeah, and I really think that they saw in themselves basically what had happened. They saw that they needed a change after the devastating 3-day loss in the first Test to England, but they battled back. They got some new recruits into the squad, new as in new to the series, not necessarily new to the squad, but new to the series.
These players have been for I have been bashing this team for a while, if I'm going to be honest.
It's not just you alone, Mark. It's
that is true, not me alone, but to be honest
myself.
with you, the West Indies selectors have been trying to create a new culture, and they're doing that by pushing the young players. We saw that in the UAE when West Indies went to the UAE. We saw it when Pakistan came here to the West Indies, and West Indies did pretty well. They won a Test match here, and the series was very close, and then they went to England. So they have been trying to create a new culture and they're doing that by introducing young players. These sets of players the West Indies But there's also another thing.
Yes.
I think that there are too many Barbadians on that team. If I'm going to be honest, there are lots of Barbadians on that team, and people from
So
the
are the
Caribbean are wondering why.
selectors? So are the selectors? No. Are they mostly Barbados person of Barbados of the Barbados native? So
That's a good question. The chairman of selectors for the West Indies
it's from Barbados.
is a Barbadian, Miss Corny Brown. So it's I mean when you win when you have won a test match in England that hasn't happened for 17 years,
Yeah.
you know, that's going to quiet some people down. But still, in all fairness, I think there are too many Barbadians on that team.
Okay. So do you think that the Barbados cricketers, do you think that they don't necessarily have that much of an impact on the West Indies team over the years?
I mean, Scott. I mean, as you just saw for yourself, I was watching the match and I didn't expect Shea Hope or Shea Hope to do what he did, but the persons who were able to set up this victory for the West Indies were Roach, Hope, Brathwaite,
Yes.
and Holder himself, and those are 4 Barbadians.
Yes.
So far.
So moving on to another person that was integral, as you said, another person that was integral in completing this victory, this historic victory by the West Indies team. How much of an impact? What kind of role did Mr. Brathwaite play in this victory? Because you listed 4 Barbados cricketers. One of them is the captain of the team.
They're more in the team though, but those are just the 4 that have really gave West Indies a chance in that second test match.
Yes. Also, what I noticed is that also Blackwood was mentioned by the commentators to have somewhat of an influence in the victory. How did you view his performance in the match? Because I looked over the match and he was very integral in the victory that happened. I mean, some of his pictures are over the newspaper, the Jamaican newspaper right now. I think also some of Hope's pictures are even in the Jamaican newspaper. So how much of an impact do you think he had on the victory of the West Indies, and how was his performance to you?
All right, starting with Brathwaite, because he did ask me about Brathwaite, right?
Yeah.
Brathwaite's job in the team is to bat as long as he can. Other players will bat around him. He's not the prettiest person to watch, but he gets the job done as the coach said. Going back to, you asked me about Blackwood. Going back to Blackwood, as Blackwood says, as Michael Holding says, that Blackwood plays how he plays. It doesn't matter the state of the cricket, the state of the match. Blackwood will go out there and try to hit every ball. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. That's just how he plays. And I think in this specific test match, it helped the West Indies greatly, because if it was a different scenario and Blackwood was needed to stay there and bat long periods of time and get out playing a loose shot, then you wouldn't be hearing all this glory. But in this particular situation, Blackwood did his job. So really integral in how the team performed.
Yes. So kudos to the West Indies for what they did. Brilliant performance. They have a 3rd test match coming up. Hopefully, if they do pull off the miraculous victory in this test, I think, okay, so now there's a pro and a con to that situation, right? Test cricket was normally dominated by the West Indies in before we were even born. So you had man like Ambrose that was bowling absolutely brilliantly. You had our generation. You had Marshall. You had Jimmy Adams. You had Michael Holding. You had Vivian Richards. You had all those people that were so influential in the fear of other teams coming to us to play us, whether it's on their home ground, their home pitch, or our home pitch. So I think that there would be a fear instilled in the persons, or they would open an eye to the West Indies, like, okay, West Indies is probably going back to the form they were in the 80s or the 70s or the early 90s, that really put them on the map. But what I really fear is that if they're saying that Barbados was basically the influential country in the West Indies performing well in the Test series, then you'll have more Barbados cricket players in the squad. I'm all for the persons that are performing well, but I want a diversity, because you cannot just have Barbados people. Because if you have just Barbados people, how are the Jamaicans going to get well when eventually those cricketers go away? How will the Guyanese, how will persons from St. Kitts and Nevis perform?
That's a very strong point. There's a saying that when Barbadian cricket is strong, then West Indian cricket is strong. But when you have so many players coming from one country, and before this test match, or the test match that they won, the players weren't performing well, so they got a lot of backlash from people in the Caribbean. Why are there so many Barbadian players in that West Indian team? I know that they've won a test match. I think it's too early to say that West Indies are going to dominate. They're going to start dominating them because they won a test match, but we have to see. They won. That's great, but it's watching the next step, watching how they're going to build upon that. Because I think Shea Hope is going to be a phenomenal player in the future for West Indies. I really think so.
I think so as well. I really do appreciate his performance. He really lifted our spirits up.
He did. I was watching the match live, so I was I was very excited to see this young guy. He's about our age. He's 23. To have so much determination and
so much skill enough to carry the West Indies.
Exactly.
So big up to the West Indies. It was nice knowing that we can feel good about a test victory away, especially in England. Now we're going to speak about the CPL and the Jamaican Talawas. Now, as you know, in the off season, just like you have transfers in football and trades in basketball, you had a big trade in CPL. Now, I don't think it's called Lima Call anymore. It's bigger, right?
Yes.
Buster,
yes.
I should say.
Buster, yeah.
Buster CPL. Now, this off season, there was a big trade from the Talawas. And now St. Kitts and Nevis had acquired Chris
Gale, yes.
It's a 3-3-3 on his back. I don't know why I decided to put 3-3-3.
No, 3-3-3 is his highest test score. So I guess that's why he's done that.
Alright. So now we lost a big batsman.
We lost two. We lost Chris Gale, and we lost Chadwick Walton.
Yes, we lost
and also
Walton.
Because
he's
Russell.
St. Lucia, right?
What was that?
Chadwick Walton is with St. Lucia, right?
He's with Guyana, Amazon
Guyana.
Warriors.
Okay,
yeah.
So he's with the Amazon Warriors, and we have a guy that's with St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, we also still have Kumar Sangakkara, who in the few games that we've had at Sabina, he has been playing exceptional, especially the first match where he hit 74 of 46 balls. That was absolutely wonderful by Kumar Sangakkara. And we have now won 2 out of the 3. I think we have one tomorrow. I think our last match is tomorrow.
We have one last game. Yeah, one last game at Jamaica.
And we won the first game. We lost the second game. So we now have a final match tomorrow, I believe. So we really and truly are proud of them. What do you think, after losing 2 big batsmen, what do you think was the motivation to continue? Because now I think they're in the playoffs.
Yes, they are in the playoffs. Yes.
After winning last night, well, I don't know when is this going to come about, August 30th, we won our match that sent us into the playoffs. What do you think was the motivation after losing
those players?
After losing these 2 big batsmen?
Well, they didn't. They also lost Andre Russell, because Russell, he's banned. He's currently banned, and so he couldn't get to play either the IPL
For the CPL.
or the CPL. But I mean, I think why the team is performing so well is because of their coach, Paul Nixon. I think he was there when they won their first CPL title,
Mm-hmm.
and they left him out 1 year, and they had to bring him back. The year that they brought him up, which was last year, he won another title for the Talawas. I know he's back this year again,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're brilliantly led under Kumar Sangakkara,
Yeah.
who has scored his third consecutive 50. So they're just performing well, and we're just very proud of them at this moment in time.
Yeah, I believe his lowest score was 54, which was in the match that we lost. And that's still an exceptional number because 50, you still was able to get a half century, and that was your lowest number. And that's absolutely exceptional.
Well, before he came to Jamaica, he wasn't really Sangakkara wasn't really able. He wasn't really on any form. I
Yeah.
know that he's playing here at home. He's gotten some 50s under his belt, which going forward is
Hmm.
good for the Jamaica Talawas. But the surprise player to me was O'Shane Thomas, a
Yes,
20-year-old tall fast bowler. I've never seen him before, but
me either.
I was really impressed by that young man. So
Yes.
you can see that there's definitely some talent coming out of the CPL.
Yes. Also, what question I want to ask you is a very interesting question. Do you think that the Lime McCall CPL is improving the outside players? Because as you said before, Kumar Sangakkara was not on form before coming to the Jamaica Talawas, but now he's here. He's had couple 50s under his belt, almost hitting a century with the Jamaican Talawas. Do you think that the CPL has really picked up the form for some foreign players? Because as you know, the structure of the CPL is like the IPL and the APL, which is the Australia Premier League as well, over there. Do you think that the CPL is really bringing form, or these kind of tournaments are bringing form to these players from outside of the region?
Well, let's correct what you just said a while ago. He was he played in England, and he was in good form, but it's just that when he started to play this season for the Talawas,
Yes.
especially in the USA, just wasn't on any form. But
Yes.
he struck form now, and that's good. I think the question, I think the important question that you really wanted to ask me is the CPL bringing the right set of overseas players to play in the CPL,
Yes.
and are those players going to be impactful
Yeah.
in each franchise? That's a very good question. Sangakkara is captain of course, captain of the Jamaica Talawas. Is
Hmm.
making runs, but there are other examples in the CPL of players not making their runs, like Mohamed Hafiz came here, played for the Patriots, didn't make any runs. So I mean, but also the CPL has invited players like Kane Williamson, which is he's one of the best players, batsmen in the world. Period.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's a good question, and sometimes I don't think these foreign players add much value because Sangakkara is a retired cricketer.
Yes.
He is a retired cricketer.
But even Mulitaran also played a
He
while
played, yeah. He
in the
played, I think, the first two seasons of the CPL, or the first
yeah, he
season,
did,
the
and
inaugural
he's
season.
a well retired Sri Lankan.
But it's not only the CPL. I mean, most franchise or most tournaments around the world gleefully accept these retired cricketers because
Yeah, I
of
mean,
the amount of knowledge that they have.
yeah, I mean, even the remember the confrontation that Marlon and Shane had. And Shane is a retired cricketer as well. As
Yeah, and
brilliant as he is at bowling,
yeah.
he's the type of guy that will confront you if he sees something that is wrong.
Speaking of Shane Watson, St. Lucia Stars have not. I don't think they've won any matches
No, they haven't.
in this
They
CBL
have
so
not.
far. You
They
know
have not.
they had to change the captain in Darren Sammy, and now Shane
Yeah.
Watson is the new captain, and still no luck. They still lost every single match. So it's
I
really
don't,
rough for them.
and I don't think the firing of Darren Summer really was the answer. They
Yeah.
just needed a change in tactics overall.
That's what I'm saying. Some of those international players like Karen Akmal, Jesse Ryder, Mitch McClanahan, Eddie Lee. They're not. Shane Watson himself is not on any form since the IPL. Sorry, he didn't make a big contribution in the IPL, and he's come here to the CPL doing pretty much the same thing, not in any form at all with bat or ball. So when you invite players to play for your franchise and they're not performing,
Hmm.
that's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna win games. So
Yeah,
it goes back to the question: Are the players that we're inviting here good enough to be playing franchise cricket? And yeah,
so is
and
it
that the answer is
is it
no.
a so is it a 50-50 answer then? Because you have guys like Sangakkara making runs, but you also have guys like Shane Watson not really
Doing anything.
contributing to his team. So do you think it's a 50-50 answer where there are some players that are impacting their teams in a positive way and you have some players impacting their teams in a negative way?
Well, yes, I think it's 50, about 50-50, but really what the fans want to say, you know, really, the fans want to say, really want to say top end cricketers coming here. They don't want to say, out of Shane Watson, you know, an outer form,
Yeah.
out of, out of shape Jesse Ryder. They don't want to see that. They want to see players who are performing well internationally to come here and play.
Yeah, yeah, I really do think so. Thank you so much, Mark. It has been an absolute pleasure. Guys, this is the first ever episode of Skype Sports Talk. I will be having some other guests on this specific type of series that I will have. But it has been an exceptional talk. As I said, guys, you see how I'm talking, you see the different people that he lists out, you see the different impacts that he claims persons have, and the different history that he pulls back from. He knows his stuff, he knows what he's talking about. Thanks so much, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That is so important because if you want stuff like this to keep going, all you have to do is hit that like button, hit that share button, and also subscribe. That's all you need to do. That's all you
Simple,
need to
isn't it?
do.
Very simple.
Very, very simple. Thanks so much.